Looks whacked.
And we're back.
Okay, we're live right now.
Yep.
Okay. So anyhow, I'm not sure where we exactly were where we left off, but what we were talking about on the podcast, and I know that there will be kind of a little bit of reference if you're getting back in. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulty. But so here's the deal. Every year when we go to launch a wheel, there always ends up being that thing where there's a slight delay, because any problems or whatever you're going to experience, it's going to happen in the first time you're producing a wheel, right? So we as we get into running production or doing tests, like we may find little things that, this isn't working as well as we hoped or whatever it is, and we resolve them, we fix them, we make sure it's 100%, and then we go into mass production. And so with that being the way things happen, if sometimes we will have a delay in that first part of the production of that wheel. So that happened with the Ultragram. Obviously, what was supposed to be here at the end of March turned into the end of April. Kind of a full month on that whole thing. But anyhow, we are.
Well, now they're inbound. They're here.
Oh yeah. No, I think the first wheels are landing next week.
That's great.
So we have things, and that's why the one thing that happens, and the one part I'll talk about just cautioning people on, is if you're really looking for the Ultragram, we've heard it multiple times, people asking when they're coming out, this is the time to go place your back orders with dealers if they don't have it on the website, which is totally understandable because they're not in stock. And a lot of retailers, they only want to list wheels now when they're in stock.
Yeah.
The problem with this is that this happens to us for the past few years. This is how it goes. We talk about the wheel. Everybody says, oh, I can't get it. So they don't place their back orders. They don't call a dealer and say, hey, look, can you just get this wheel on order for me? Then the wheels come in, and as soon as they hit the websites for now being in stock, they're gone the next day.
Right.
And then we have to hear everybody say,
where's the Ultragram?
You said it was in drag. Well, yeah, but it's gone. How could it be gone? You just got them.
Right.
That's what happens. So if you're really into the wheel, not that I want to sound silly, but I'm saying it more from an aspect of perspective of
expectations or
right.
whatever it may be.
Right. And listen, here's the thing. If you're
reality.
if you're down to be like, hey, look, I'm not going to order till they get in stock, and if they're not there, they're not there. Then good. No problem. No problems. I just want to, if you guys are listening to us, you're the inbound crew, right? And so part of our crew here, we want to give you the heads up. This is the deal, right? Super cool piece of content Max has been working on, which is trying to come up with a little bit more in-depth video of it. So if you are listening on the podcast, or you've downloaded it and you're in your car somewhere, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, because right now we're going to play kind of the video without the audio, and we'll kind of show you kind of what some of the B-roll and stuff like that looks like, and we should have this thing up on YouTube by the end of the day. So it'll be on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out.
Ultragram overview video.
Yeah, that's what it is. So Rich goes through some of the specs. He also goes through. I imagine Max gonna queue up in a few moments, but you go through the specs. You talked about the real wheel real quick. We talked about 2 new colors. We gave you some angles so you could see what A and B profile look like. You spoke about kind of the different,
features.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, and, one of the things is, we talked about how, much intricate feedback we got from, from a lot of our race teams and different things that allowed us to put that feedback into the wheel, really make it probably one of, I'm confident in saying that because I work so intricately developing the wheels and the designs, that I'm confident to say that this is the most amount of feedback and different, use of technological things that we have ever done on a wheel. You know what I mean?
So, would you be able to expand on that at all, or?
Yeah. So basically, The first thing we looked at was we wanted to make sure that we were giving a wheel that had increased its longevity and its lifespan. And the reason of that is that, when you have a wheel, there's always going to be a given lifespan, except it's not predefined like brake pads or a clutch or tires, right? Mm-hmm. Where it says this tire will last 55,000 miles. This tire will last for. Wheels have a definitive lifespan. Unfortunately, the definition is going to be based off of your use, right? Mm-hmm. For example, I put a set of wheels in my car, I drive down the street, I hit a major pothole, swimming pool.
Super pothole.
Oh, man. Like, so much so that the pothole is wearing a cape.
Sounds like New York.
Right. So and then immediately the wheel's lifespan is over. It's dead because I destroyed it.
Yes.
Now, for those of you who are going to use, and I've seen this sometimes in the comments, and sometimes not to be mean, I'm just using it for an expression of speech here. When I read this comment, I want to slap people.
Ooh.
Yeah. Maybe the guy was right on the live we just did.
Chose violence today?
Maybe I did.
Well, what's the comment that makes you feel that type of way?
When people say, if it was this wheel, that wouldn't have broke. If it was this wheel, that wouldn't have been. Right? That's a stupid comment. Yeah. Let me tell you why. Because wheels are metal. They're not magic.
Hey,
and
heard that one before.
I understand. So, and when you queue up a wheel and you enter into an area where a wheel sustains an impact or some sort of road hazard that's significant to the point where it causes the wheel to damage, that's not I would say 90% of the time. I want to say 90% of the time.
Yep.
That's not a reflection of the quality wheel. It's a multitude of factors. How the wheel encountered damage, how the wheel entered into, like where the impact occurred, what kind of tire pressure was on there, what size tire was on the car, what kind of suspension was on the car, multitude of different things. Mm-hmm. And now you're being asked you're trying to direct a general statement to this wheel. Now, a lot of casting technology and even some of the a lot of the forgings and stuff like that, the quality is very good. It's not like it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, where you had those issues where maybe there was small defects in some of the construction and stuff like that. A lot of
do you feel there's too much of a stigma behind cast wheels nowadays?
Well, I think no, I don't know that I feel that there's a stigma behind cast wheels, because I think the majority of people, they don't really even think about it. They just look at wheels, right?
So, well, what about that? Say you're above average consumer, the person who's looking at wheels, uses it for an everyday basis kind of thing for their commuter car.
Yeah.
Right? But they know what some wheel brands are, and they know what quality product can be, and they're looking at the top of the line product, because that's how buyers naturally want to start, look at the top and then go down from there. And do you think that they are more put off by the idea of a cast wheel rather than a flow form or forged, because it's just out there so much now?
I think it really comes down to use and budget.
Right, of course. No, I mean, definitely.
I mean, to me, I never, being even a wheel guy myself, I never look at a wheel and go, oh, it's cast. What like to me, I'm like, well, all right, well, where's my budget? What do I want to spend? What am I looking for?
Well, so I guess more or less the question I would get is because I'll be answering some of the people on social media and stuff like that, right? So some questions I get will be, hey, with this wheel, they might say any kind of wheel, whatever name they end up using for whatever model. Yep. They go, is this wheel good enough or strong enough for my everyday use or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, that's so here's the thing.
And then the follow-up ends up being, well, is it going to be more sturdy or whatever compared to a forged wheel?
Right.
And it's like, you know the answer already to it, but what are you going to be using it for?
See, here's the thing. I don't know the answer to it, and I'll explain what I mean. But go ahead.
No, yeah, but I was going to just say, what are you using the wheel for? And, I mean, when you're comparing it to a forged wheel, it seems like you already know what the difference is, but do you need that?
Well, so I'll counter that, and I'll counter that with an opinion of and look, I mean, at this stage we make wheels that are across the spectrum of build quality. I mean, not build quality, of construction type,
yes,
right? So we make traditional cast wheels, we make flow formed wheels, we make forged wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question really is there how do you decide? Like, people say, oh, forged wheels are stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't think we're using the right words. This to me is the same kind of argument as we talk about where the world's fastest car or the world's quickest car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they sound the same.
Sure do.
Not the same, right? You can have a car that has the most amount of power, right? The most powerful car. It can make 1 million horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
If it can't get down the drag strip in a quarter mile, faster than a car that makes 1,000 horsepower,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. It's not. It could be the most powerful car, but it's not the fastest car, because does it make sense? What I'm saying?
Yes.
So to me, you have to understand that there's a real thing here, and it's called load rating, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you make a wheel, to a given load rating, and then you also test that wheel with certain standards.
Yeah.
I think if I'm going to choose the two factors that will impact how strong or sturdy a wheel is, and I'm using those words, strong, sturdy, it has to do with those two elements.
Mm-hmm.
Because load rating is going to be the majority of it.
Yep.
I mean, the truth is, if you put a wheel that's 1,300 pounds load rated on your car,
mm-hmm.
and your car, let's say, only really needs, let's say, a wheel that's, 1,200 pounds load rated.
Yeah. Well, let's start here. So if a person's watching this and you're talking about load rating, I mean, so how does that person know that the wheel has enough load rating or their car to take on their car?
So the easiest way to start with your vehicle is to look at the door placard
mm-hmm.
on your door there, and your car will list weight by axle weight, not gross vehicle weight. Do not use the gross vehicle weight as your standard use of determining what kind of wheel you need for load rating.
So axle weight.
Yeah, so you want to find the front and rear axle weight. They're usually on the door placard, and on that placard, it's going to say front axle weight, rear axle weight. What you want to do is you want to find the heaviest axle,
mm-hmm.
divide by 2.
Okay.
That is going to give you
the load rating
that you need for your vehicle.
Per wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to say is this. Going back to this whole strong thing before we get to construction,
mm-hmm.
is that, if there's a wheel that's load rated 1,500 pounds.
Yeah.
And let's say there's a regular traditional cast wheel rated 1,500 pounds.
Yep.
And then there's going to be a flow form wheel rated 1,500 pounds.
Yep. Same.
And then there's going to be a forged wheel rated 1,500 pounds.
All the same. 3 of a kind.
In theory, the tests on those wheels all are applicable to that same load rating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the same as how much does 100 pounds of feathers weigh?
That would be 100 pounds, Scott.
Right. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Now let's go further. Test standards. Are they all at the same test standards?
No.
Now, so with the test standard, no. Well, I mean, not always. Look, here's the thing. In North America, there's or America more specifically, United
mm-hmm.
States. Most manufacturers are going to build to an involuntary standard called J2530. It's an SAE standard, and yes, it's a good standard. Okay. You've heard people harp on things like VIA standard and TUV standard and JWL. Well, here's the issue with this. VIA, if you're not manufacturing wheels that are going to be, let's say, in Japan, you don't necessarily need to have your wheel VIA certified, because that is a Japanese certification that's going to end up really only being needed for Japan. Now, we make wheels. We may make that wheel, if it's not going to Japan, we may make that wheel to exceed a VIA standard, right? Without having it necessarily VIA stamped or approved, because maybe we're not selling it in Japan.
Right.
JWL is a standard that you can apply to. Now, you've heard some people talk about the argument about VIA and JWL kind of being put on wheels even though they may not have the certification. So the deal with this is then VIA and JWL, they have the ability for you to certify and file a particular wheel with them, because again, it's intended for, let's say, sale in Japan or whatever it may be, and that's what allows you to run. Really, that's when you're supposed to get that stamping of the VIA or JWL. But then there's this other thing, which is like our factories. Our factories are all, VIA and JWL approved, meaning that if they have been audited at some point, they're project certified. So if they are to exceed the standards of the test and the test pass, that they are able to use stampings in many cases, whatever. So the reason I'm bringing up test standards is we got to say that they're all the same. Different regions have different testings, and maybe a different impact test or a different bending test or whatever it may be, but they all have standards.
Yep.
So let's say all wheels are to the same, to the same standards.
Mm-hmm.
Forged now. Well, so now let's go back to the word stronger. I don't like using the word stronger. Forged, even with all these things given, same load rating, same whatever, the wheel is still engineered to that load rating.
Mm-hmm.
With whatever testing standards it was. So again, we're equal now.
Yep.
Does a forged wheel have a higher tensile strength and better properties that allow it to have a much higher, resistance against fatigue?
The answer to that would be yes.
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 Now we're getting down to the product advantages. So if somebody says to me, "Hey, I have 3 wheels, 15, they're all 1,500 pound load rated. Which one's stronger?" My answer to them is, are we talking about a single hit, or are we talking about over the course of X amount of years? Because if they're all run, let's say in a certain sense where they're going to experience different road hazards as time goes on, and metal flexes, right? We know that happens. Metal returns to its point. Every piece of metal has a certain amount of elongation. At some point, there's going to be a metal fatigue that will happen, which means that in addition to worrying about the pothole, we have to talk about what happens to a wheel over the course of use, let's say over 10 or 15 years' time.
That would be fatigue.
Well, right, because the metal continues to work hard, and every day you go, and we've seen. Listen, this is what I will say that the industry is seeing. You're seeing that wheels more than ever before are actually almost acting like a shock absorber.
Right. Now that's because of. Is it because of tires?
Well, so I think you got a multitude of issues. You got cars that are heavier than they've ever been before.
Wheels are coming out of standard bigger sizes.
That's fair. Fair. Which means smaller profile tires.
18 inches, like the new 17 at the minimum, right?
Right.
Like,
I think so. Yeah, for sure. So you have a difference in ride quality, different of air cushion with the tires. You have tires that have much stiffer sidewall as the OEs are looking for a better performance and feel to make their cars feel sportier, right?
You mix all this stuff up in a pot, and what do you get?
Yeah. You get a wheel that has to now act as a shock absorber because it's got stiffer suspension, heavier weights on the vehicle, all these different things. So now what happens is the wheel is now becoming more of a shock absorber than it's ever been before. And now we start to talk about wheel fatigue and different things like that. There always will be that situation where the life expectancy can be altered by the amount of stress a wheel sees throughout its lifetime. And does properties of the construction have everything to do with that? Absolutely.
Yep.
Right? Like a forged wheel has a much higher tensile strength, and it's going to have a better resistance against that metal fatigue. A flow form wheel in the barrel area is going to have that type of tightened grain structure. It's going to have a much higher ability to resist, fatigue than the cast wheel. But again, all these wheels are strong enough to be used in the same setting, right? And that's, to me, that's the biggest difference. Am I generalizing? Can we nitpick this apart?
Yes.
Yes. Right? Like, I'm not trying to say like, hey, like, no, there's a difference. There's a difference. But now let's bring it back to real use. There's a budget here.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to drive my Civic every day back and forth to the train station, or if I'm going to drive my Civic and I commute 50 miles to work each way, I don't think I'm not going to spend the money for a forged wheel. I don't think it makes sense, right? Forged wheel maybe $500 per wheel, whereas you can get, this cast wheel for $130. That's a big difference. So I think it's use and function, right? So now we're circling way far back here, Rich.
Yeah, we are.
But now let's get into some of the things that we did on the Ultragram that I really feel that we've taken so many of these things into account.
Yeah.
So first thing is, if you look at the spoke of the Ultragram, you'll see that there's multiple layers of kind of this radiusing that happens where it meets the barrel. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create extra strength within the spoke at the point where it would experience some of the most amount of stress, right where it meets the barrel of the wheel, right where it meets that drop center. And we're trying to help it distribute the weight better into the rest of the wheel, because as we know, stress is going to translate through the wheel.
Yeah, shock.
Yeah. And so what happens is, and a lot of people get this confused. They think if they have damage in the back of a wheel.
Oh, it's a good one, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That it came from the back of the wheel.
Right.
Not the case. The wheel translates, kind of damage to the weakest spot for where it hits. You have an impact here. It goes through the wheel, kind of like an earthquake spreading out, and that damage will translate to where the wheel will flex, or and that's the nature of all wheels.
So you're saying more or less the breaking point doesn't have to be where the impact is.
That's right.
Right.
The impact occurring doesn't necessarily correspond where the damage shows.
Yes.
Right. And so that's a lot of the time, people get that confused. But so we have to think about that. So the idea here is that we're using that spoke to really plant and distribute some of that stress throughout the rest of the wheel and into the barrel and into the wheel more evenly, to allow it to absorb.
It made me think of in like barn houses where they have like the lightning rod to get the lightning. Like it's kind of what you just reminded me of.
That's a great example.
Yeah, like lightning hits the lightning rod, boom, kind of disperses it, so it doesn't kind of do a lot of damage.
Yeah. To me, I almost think about it in the same respect of like, you ever see people and they'll take a car and they'll try to do a jump in a car and they put all those cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
No, but I'm like, we say it's funny, but like, I know like Papadakis, the racing, they did that with one of their drift Supras for the Supra commercial when Toyota did it, and like that's what they did. They had empty cardboard assembled boxes that essentially were stacked, probably 10, 12 boxes high. They had this massive width on it, and they jumped the car into the boxes, and it's because the boxes, as they collapse, they start to absorb all the energy, right? So, look at that. So, look, boxes. Everybody that thought I was kidding. Look how the damage translates. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and so what were we trying to do? We're trying to do. Thank God they got it that fast.
That's incredible,
isn't it? Wonder what it looks like going into a row of boxes. That's wild. Papadakis Racing, they're the stuff.
It's a great looking car too.
Yeah, looks great in flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stefan. He is so cool. He was like, honestly, even growing up in like the drag racing days, like Stefan, like I waited 2004, 2003.
Uh-huh.
I remember waiting in line to get his autograph at a NYRA event.
2004, I was probably
2003.
I was probably doing intramural sports.
Yeah. No, I know. So anyhow, so bottom line is, so what are we trying to do? We're trying to make sure that
were those stock wheels?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, right?
Yeah. We're trying to make sure that that shock wave gets distributed evenly. That's number one. Look, they even have
the weights in the back.
Well, they have to make sure the car doesn't nose plant because of the engine, right?
Yeah, fold in half, blow up. I don't know.
So, all right. So there's that. Then the other thing that we've done is we've tried to then carry that out, and we've changed the rear flange design on the Ultragram so that it can have a more rigidity back there.
Yep.
Now, I will say this. The wheel, we could have made the wheel a quarter to maybe 0.4 pounds lighter in many sizes. And we had to weigh out, what do we want to do? Put this new flange design into effect and know that our wheels are going to continuously have more reliability, more longevity, and have a higher rigidity in that area. And we ultimately said, yeah, we're going to try this. We're going to put this out. We've tested it 7 ways from Sunday. We've done physical tests. We've done FEA over and over and over again. Like, we have made sure that there's little radiuses even within the spoke design, the barrel design, and on the rear flange to make sure this wheel has all that feedback put together. People talked about neural beating for the race teams.
Yes,
that's back on this wheel as a standard. If you buy a heliogram or you buy an Ultragram,
you get neural beating.
That's right.
So you're saying that with stuff being ever changing, always changing, I guess I should say. Standard sized wheels are kind of getting bigger by default. Tires are getting stiffer sidewalls and maybe thinner profiles on the tires and just different ways of being made, I guess, or whatever. All these things are kind of adding to a kind of formula that's making it so that we need to make little bits of adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, I think the industry has, and I think there's different ways to skin this cat.
And you're saying that the Ultragram would be a product of these adjustments.
I mean, listen, yes. I mean, the answer to that is yes. But and again, a lot of the feedback we took came from motorsport, not from the street use.
Yeah.
Right? Because those guys are using the product in the harshest of harsh.
Yep.
The road racing guys that are going to experience problems, they're going to do it while they're, curb checking at 120 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's when they're going to experience the most amount of stress on a wheel and those sudden impacts. And so that's what we're using to try to decide, all right, what kind of things do we need to do? Where do we need to look at it? If you're racing hardcore, you're going to use wheels up, right? And it doesn't matter what brand, what material, what construction. So our job is to then work with those teams to gain the feedback and look at their real data to determine, is that completely unavoidable within a given realm, or is that something that can be avoidable? And how do we make it avoidable? And yes, we're changing some of the product, and the industry is going to have to adjust with a lot of these vehicle changes and use changes, especially with EV coming more and more into the picture.
Yeah, definitely.
But I will say that I think when it comes down to the wheel, like I said, a lot of different ways to skin the cat. You could just increase the load rating tremendously. What the heck is that?
What is what?
I think on the back of that trailer.
I don't know.
Is that a fossil?
I don't know.
Looks like a dinosaur. It's a dinosaur egg, guys.
Something just went by our window, and we're not sure what it was. But I'll tell you this: I don't have my glasses, so
they're going to public storage. I think it's a dinosaur egg.
It is going to public storage.
Either that or it's a sewer. I'm not really. I mean, now it's got an engine. Is that big doghouse? It's a dog igloo.
It looks like an igloo. That's what I can get out of it. It looks like an
These
igloo.
people don't care. So what? Listen. So what I'm saying is, like, in theory, you want to come up with increase the strength and rigidity. You could also increase the load rating. Everybody wonders why OE wheels are so damn heavy.
Because they have a higher load rating.
The load rating is astronomical.
Right.
The question is, do you want that? Do you need that? Does that help you? There's a reason that, an OE wheel may weigh 35 pounds. That's because it's load rated for, massive amount, 2,300 pounds.
A literal ton.
You know, yeah,
right?
Probably getting close, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, performance wheels, they generally, you know, try to run the balance of two things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe coming to a load rating that's more sufficient for the vehicle's needs, and also trying to come up with ways to increase the strength and rigidity without necessarily needing as much load rating, right? But at the end of the day, or as much material. I want to be clear about that. So that's what we've tried to do with the Ultragram, and I'm super pumped to see kind of what comes out of it. And I think that I think people are going to be. I think a lot of the racers are, and a lot
impressed.
of our motorsport people. I think that they're gonna. Happy. Yeah, they're gonna be like, man, like a lot of the stuff that we said, like, oh, they really use this stuff.
Yeah, it's you know, implementing feedback, right?
Yeah, and listen, and these are things that, like, you know, I mean, all right, so personal. I usually try not to do stuff like this, but like on a personal level, these are the things that genuinely bother me when I read comments where people try to compare us to other wheel companies or other things, and I know how much time and effort we put in to this development. I know how long we worked on this wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I know how many times we sent this wheel back to make a small little change. I know how many times they said, oh, we can do this, we can also do this, and we said, no, let's try this. And they're like, well, I don't know. And then we do it, and they're like, well, it did come out stronger, but I bet you we can do this. Like, the back and the forth, the time that we spend to just get every little thing right. And then, so then we get down to it, and we're a month late, and people are like, well, you know, there's a reason all this stuff happens. But, you know, I wish people can see all that when they started then doing their homework to purchase wheels, so that they were comparing kind of the apples to apples.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, here's a question I have for you. This might be a little random.
No, I take random at this point.
Yeah, that's all right. But so, you know, when you've seen the arguments for stuff for aftermarket wheels, like, people might say stuff like, yeah, they're lighter weight, you might get better gas mileage. You've seen people spin aftermarket wheels in a whole bunch of directions of why.
It's not inaccurate.
Right. But so now, through your time working just in general automotive, has there been anything that's ever come to your mind of where people spin an aftermarket wheel in the sense of safety?
I mean, I'm sure it's been done, and I'm sure that there's cases there. I think that, you know, a job of every wheel company is to ensure that they are putting out a safe product, and that safety is obviously our number one concern.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, look, it's also about properly educating. I mean, there's some places where you could never find a load rating on a wheel out there, and we try to make sure that our load ratings are up and center, including loaded into every single one of our retailers' websites, because it's important that people buy the wheels for their car.
Yeah.
Right?
Properly.
So properly.
Yes.
Yeah, right, properly. So you know, look, I think that there's always going to be that type of thing. I think, you know, as a buyer of wheels, as somebody that's going to run wheels on their car, I think it's up to you to do your homework the best you can to make sure that you're getting exactly what you need for your car, and you're getting a quality product.
Oh, and if they're having trouble with their homework,
right,
and they need some answers, they should probably consult expert.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of wheel and tire professionals that can help you. And don't get me wrong, on social media, you know, you can always send us a message or an email or through our website or something, and we'll do our best to get back to you. But, you know, look, we're here to help.
Sure are.
At the end of the day, you know, sometimes I feel like our slogan should be, how can we help? Because I feel like...
Is that someone's slogan already?
Well, I was watching the show New Amsterdam on Netflix.
Never heard of it.
Well, if you have, it turned out to be a very good show. So if you want to watch it, you know, you got my blessing. It's all about a hospital and this medical director, and it goes on for I think 5 or 6 seasons. But his thing was always, how can I help? You know, and to his detriment, right? And I feel like sometimes like we spent there's times, you know this because you've done it, that you'll be working with one person that just doesn't get it or needs help or whatever, and it will take you an hour.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, I still have to get through all the rest of this stuff today. But we do it with a sense of, I mean, look, there's times I pick up the phone. Somebody needs help. They're not really sure. Whatever. Get on the phone. Have to start trying to help this person, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for.
We got the Rag Company said Koenig wheels are the best. We love what you guys do.
You guys are going to make me cry. I can't wait to I'm so excited that they're coming to Long Island.
It's also not even just New York. They're coming to the island.
Oh, they're coming to like Long Island.
Cool.
And I am pumped. Man, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna hang out. This is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we're gonna hang out. There's gonna be great dinner somewhere in there.
Nice.
A lot of high fives, couple hugs, and hopefully some nice detailing.
So if they're coming to local, I mean, are you gonna suggest the dinner spot? You can take that into your hands?
I was going to suggest a ceramic coating on my car. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. I think there's a high probability of that. I have to see kind of what their plans are. They are in an official capacity here. They're here visiting dealers.
Yeah.
Right. So we know how that is. We go our priority is making sure that we're, getting with our customer. But if they have any other free time that I can occupy, or something like that, then I would love to be able to kind of get with them. They have to be some of the best and some of my favorite people in the automotive industry, hands down.
So that's a very nice, serious praise.
Yeah, it was. You know what I mean? All right, look at us. So I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of what we're talking about here. I will say, listen, one last thing. I guess we should talk about it real quick. I saw the first really good full-depth, in-depth, in the car, like outside of the car, talking about the car for the Integra Type S. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of want one.
You want one?
I think I want one.
Oh, it's not too slow for you?
I didn't say that.
Mods do exist.
That's what I'm saying.
But... the car's solid, man. It's solid.
The interior was really nice. I love that they went to the full integrated, like digital dash. So it has
for the infotainment.
No, well, so look, so
you mean for the right, the integrated digital dash for the
right,
cockpit,
I love that BMW. If you get into some of the newer BMWs, they have like, so your what you call it, Dane with hugs, Anthony will do your garden, Levi will give the high fives. Man, this is like the trifecta of amazing, right?
Yeah,
this is amazing. So basically,
that car looks good. I would go for the Apex blue color like that. All right, that thing is solid. 19-inch wheels. Well, listen, split spoke 5. It's good. The hood, I like the hood extractor.
They stamped the bumper.
It's good, right? Man. It's good. It's right. Wide.
Okay.
It's man.
We are not going to spend too much time on this. We've talked. First off, I want the white. That's number one.
I go blue all day.
All right. Here's the thing. The BMW digital dash cluster. It has like where it will throw your navigation right up to it.
Yep.
And stuff like that. This looks to have all of that. The exhaust is cool. And as my good buddy Troy had mentioned, when I was on the podcast a few weeks ago and I mentioned about the 5 horsepower I imagine comes through a tune, Troy has corrected me, and I stand corrected, that most of the change has come within the exhaust changes that they've made on the car. Now, the only question I have, and this is why I still can't believe it doesn't come a little bit through tuning, is no matter how many times you toot your own horn, am I wrong that at least appearance-wise, from what we can see so far, appears to be the same as the Type R? I mean, three exhaust. It's the same type of exhaust. I'm just saying. I know there's some stuff under there. I'm sure that there's some different things they did with flowing and different things. Now wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. That car did not have the digital dash.
I think it is.
Well, you think that's a gauge preset?
Yeah.
because the one I saw looked very much like the BMW.
You can definitely just switch it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think.
See, that's super cool.
I think you could just switch the cluster.
Look, Honda's been known for coming up with higher quality pieces included in their cars. So I'm hoping that
it's digital.
Yeah, I know. It looks digital. So then
you got fooled.
I thought I was getting punked.
Yeah.
I thought I was getting punked. But I love the fact that they stamped into the bumper like the old Integra.
The D-Boss badging, look at that. Cargo space looks nice, man.
A little sub worked in. So you got some stuff there. I like that. So, that's going to be sick.
I'll put this into a really short one-sentence thing for anyone who's listening. If anyone's listening out there. Scott, this is my words to you and anyone else over there. This is the greatest front-wheel drive car ever made. It is.
Oh, wow.
It is. I mean, find me another front-wheel drive car that's better than this. That's why it's so cool.
Now, wait a minute.
Saying,
wait a minute.
It's the best front-wheel drive car ever made.
All right.
Tell me another one.
I'm going to give you a full stop here.
All right.
Before you play yourself.
I'll play myself.
We have not seen the Type S pinned against the Type R yet.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Doesn't matter.
Does matter. Does matter.
This has a better interior. It's a more luxury car. It's just better. Even if the Type R wins in a little race and from a roll at a dig, who cares?
All right. So let's talk about cars that you think this is better.
Because then some guy's gonna tune this thing up to 1,000 horsepower, and then another guy's gonna tune the Honda Civic up to 1,000 horsepower, and they'll argue until they die.
Okay. Is this car better than a Crown Vic driving in reverse?
Probably.
All right. It's a pretty good car then.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, the wide body is really nice looking.
Yeah.
The exhaust is nice looking.
I think the wheels are actually pretty nice too.
I mean, I wouldn't get carried away with yourself. But I love the stamping. I mean, that color is really nice too. So I think they did, this is it, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing that does bother me is I still think it's unfortunate that the carbon fiber package is definitely going to be an option now.
Mm-hmm.
That's confirmed. So it looks like they're going to come with a black spoiler and a black mirror cap as, I guess, I don't want to say an option, but like that's color finish wise. It'll be, and then if you want the carbon
package
piece, you have to pay for that. But
there's a lot of companies that are doing that, carbon packages.
I know, but
even the previous FK8 Type R had a carbon package.
You know what it is? I wanted Honda to do that thing where it's like, all right, here's the Type S, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the Type R, cool, right? Like, you know what it is, you know what you're getting. Here's a cushy Type S, but also has all the coolness, and we're giving to you, like, let's say hypothetically MSRP is what, 44 on a Type R.
44, it's 45, right around
you
there.
Can't get it for that, but that's, you know what I'm saying.
MSRP is that, yes, right. 44 something.
I was hoping that like this car would come in somewhere between 48 and 52, but be like only one option away. Comes with a carbon package, comes with all the features, you know what I mean? Like you can't spec the car anymore. This is the car. Here's your different color options. That's what I was hoping for.
So one option, like
one option.
One option, yeah.
One option. That's what I was hoping for. I don't want to have this thing where it's like build this, add this. I don't want the dealer adding. I want give me the car.
Ooh, you know what car gives you that one option thing? Volkswagen Golf R.
Here we go again with this car.
No, we're good. I'm done.
But the best front wheel drive. That's
all wheel drive.
Yeah, but all right, whatever.
It's all wheel drive.
I don't want to go down this road.
Well, I'm just saying.
So anyhow, so that's it. Weigh in on your opinion down below, or send us a message. We got anything going on there?
Better than an FK8 Type R, and that's actually my buddy right there, Jeremy.
Yeah,
he has an FK8.
Okay,
so he's
So Jeremy, nice to meet you. I hear good things. Yeah. Right.
Better than FK8.
Yeah, it's better than. It's gonna be better than an FK8.
So,
I'll tell you. I mean, I really do like the car. That's an FK8, isn't it?
That is, yeah.
I was gonna say
that's an Amazon truck.
That's true. But yeah, so like I don't know. I'm pretty pumped. I'm curious to see what's going on. Anyhow, let's. Oh wait a minute, we got Jeremy
said. Oh, here he goes again with the golf. See, everyone's sick of me talking about this shit. So, It is what it is, man. But
yeah, he loves that Type R. I mean, he loves that Golf R.
What's there not to love? I just don't get it. But
well, I mean,
the price is what not to love.
Could you imagine? All right, hold on a second.
Yes.
Could you imagine for another $5,000 or $6,000, they make the Type S available in all-wheel drive?
That would be really cool. That would be a serious game changer.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
I would own one right now. Maybe not, but you know what I mean.
Probably not available right now, but
anyhow, with that said,
we have some new merch on our store.
We do.
Yeah,
we got new hats, 47 brand hats.
Store.konigwheels.com.
Yeah. So, if you want to get them, check them out. Cool stuff there. Also new shirt. Rich is wearing the front of it, and then the back of it, well, it's on the website.
Yeah, there's the...
Yeah, I'm not going to make you turn around.
Oh, it's this one. There we go. I'm going reverse in the camera.
Right.
There. Yeah.
So make sure you check it out. Anyhow, that's it for this week. We'll be back here next week. Take care of yourself. Have a good time. Be cool. Do cool car things. We'll catch you next week.